Well, happy Good Friday, everybody. Today I find myself traipsing about the woods on my parents' farm, getting some much needed woodland therapy, not to mention practicing serious social distancing. Those of you who know me well know that I like to get away. And one of my favorite places to go is a place called Middle Earth, the land of hobbits and dwarves, the land of Gandalf and elves, the kings of Rohan and Gondor. Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite books. And there's a passage early on in the trilogy where Gandalf is having a conversation with Frodo, explaining to him the history of the Ring of Power and why it is that Frodo has it. And finally Frodo says, "I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had happened." And Gandalf thoughtfully responds by saying, "So do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time given us." There's a lot of truth in those statements. We have hardly any control over the events of the world, and many of the circumstances we find ourselves in are even beyond our control. But we can respond, and how we do that is very important. You know, the Bible doesn't sugarcoat things when it comes to suffering and oppression and evil. In fact, Paul, when he was making his rounds visiting his churches and stopping and encouraging them, reminded them that it is through many tribulations that we enter the kingdom of God. It's not a picnic. It's not a cakewalk. It's difficult. It's marked by sorrow and sadness. Jesus himself didn't downplay this as well. On the very night he was betrayed, he was having a deep conversation with his disciples, and he reminded them that in the world you will have trouble. But he doesn't stop there. He says, "But take heart, I have overcome the world." That is to say, trust in me, follow me, and you will overcome the world. Doesn't mean it's going to be a bed of roses by any means, but we will overcome. We will be conquerors. What's really ironic about that statement is that just a few hours later, Jesus was on the cross dying, and it seemed like darkness and death and evil had had its day and its victory. But no, a few days later, Jesus rises from the dead, and he vindicates his words. He has overcome the world, and in that we can take heart. And so, what we have to do is decide how we respond to the times in which we live. We can respond in fear, or we can respond by faith. We can respond quaking in our boots or courageously. I'm going to try and embrace faith and courage during these times, and troubling though they may be, and though I may wish to live in other times. Fact of the matter is, I'm here now, and so are you. And the thing that we can cling to is the resurrection hope of Jesus Christ, not only defeating sin and death and the devil, but redeeming our very existence. Even today is redeemed by Jesus Christ. And how we face it is one that can be faced with courage and with faith. And that's my wish for you. So have a blessed, thoughtful Good Friday and a truly blessed and joyful Easter.